has a question. What track are you looking forward to running after Indy? After Indy, what's the track that you're looking forward to the most?
Honestly, I've heard the most excitement out of the drivers from Texas. They said they get off that track from qualifying and they're just shaking. You know, they can't even talk for a couple minutes, and that sounds like some fun. Trying to
of course it
figure out
does.
where
That sounds
is,
like fun to you, right?
It sounds like a great time. Why not? But
you got to be
Dover
shaking.
too. The Monster Mile. Yeah. Oh, the Monster Mile is right by my house. So for me, you know, that's something that all my friends and family are going to go to. So I have no idea how we'll do there, but it just looks really exciting. Super high speeds and you know, very tight race course. So I think for me, the tighter the courses, I think the better. I mean, really looking forward to Indianapolis just because, you know, it's one of the flatter courses. So anything where you're going to have to kind of drive the car a little more sideways, or you can make the car work for you, as opposed to, you know, really having to explain what the car is doing. I just don't have the seat time. At least that's what I'm telling myself now, and I hope it gets better to explain to the crew what I need, you know, in the car to make it quicker and to be more competitive on, you know, on some of the restrictor plate races.
It's all about learning to speak NASCAR, isn't it? Tracy Sane wants to know any special tips and tricks for staying on top of your game at all times, diet and exercise regimens, anything like that.
You know, it's always good to stay as fit as you can, which is great coming from motocross, because my whole life was, I mean, motocross was all about being in shape, being, you know, training, being as fit as you possibly can, and, you know, working through injuries. But for me, I mean, I find road bicycling is the best. I mean, on our days off, we can go for a 40 or 60-mile road bike ride. There's nothing that calms me down and gets me just, you know, kind of like my time off. So, you know, for me, just trying to stay as fit as possible so you can do whatever you need to do, I guess, is my best way to stay focused.
Stay focused and stay fit, man. It's very important. Ben from Kentucky wants to know if you think you'll run well on road courses, considering your motocross background.
Not so sure the motocross background will be great for road courses, but you know, I always did good on races that were a little different than what everyone is used to. You know, coming in with less experience than most of the guys, they have, you know, the ovals pretty well dialed, and they understand the ovals. For me, I've raced a lot of you know, a lot of Porsche Cup races, a lot of circuit track racing with the rallycross and everything else. You know, I feel pretty competent, you know, with adapting to tracks quickly, but I think I'll be able to do better. Hopefully, having no basis for which to put this judgment on, I think I'll be able to do a lot better on the road courses. And yes, I am really, really looking forward to doing that.
Yeah, it sounds like fun. Judy wants to know, besides all the racing, all the flips, everything else in the world, what other hobbies do you have outside of all of that?
The problem with my life is that if I ever take a weekend off, I go and do the exact same things I do for my job. So I just love racing. You know, love anything with wheels, and I really don't have any hobbies outside of you know, racing, BMX. You know, we've got pretty much anything with a motor, anything with wheels. Skydiving's fun. I guess that doesn't have a motor or wheels, but it's kind of high speed, so that's always fun. Base jumping's great. You usually have to go to Europe if you're going to do that legally, unfortunately. So don't have a chance to get out too much to the cliffs out there, but that's, you know, stuff like that's fun.
Yeah, of course it is. Travis wants to know, how was your late model race at Indy, man, and how will it relate to this weekend's race?
Actually didn't get a chance to race the late model, but David Stremme actually brought his late model out to Indianapolis, and it was so hot, man. I was dying in that car. It was pretty funny. I got out of the car. We were like in it for 3 hours, and I popped out, and I was like, wow, I did not think NASCAR was going to be this physical of a sport. But it was like basically sitting in a sauna and having to be like mentally just, you know, you're sliding the car, just trying to keep you know, keep your focus, and it was a challenge. Definitely felt like I learned a lot. You know, David was amazing. He was really, really cool to come out there and, you know, just trying to teach me the line going around. It's going to be a little different, you know, definitely racing the Nationwide car. The bias ply tires is something that I relate a little bit more to because they slide them around a lot more. But, you know, the radials I've actually felt pretty competent on, so we'll have to see. I'll let you know after Indy how that helped.
Well, stay in touch. We want to know how all this goes. Rope-a-Dope wants to kind of tack onto that last question. Are you worried about the heat, given that you can't get out of this darn car during the race?
No, definitely heat's a factor, but for all my motocross stuff and everything that I've ever done, you know, heat weighs on everyone, but I feel like my conditioning was always something that I prided myself on, and I feel going into NASCAR, as miserable as I'm going to be in that car, I'll have a little smile on my face knowing that everyone else is going to be a little bit more miserable. So I guess that's kind of a good thing. When I get tired, when I get sore, when I get some cramps going, or run out of whatever Red Bull or Gatorade or Pedialyte or whatever they're putting in that thing,
Sure.
I'll actually feel pretty good that I think we're going to be at least as unmiserable as anybody else out there.
You're gonna want to know what they're putting in that thing, man. I'm gonna tell you right now. You're gonna want to know what they're putting in your glass there. Megan Biggs.
They Ramos, one of the guys that he's a great cook. He's awesome. He's always up with the water and stuff like that. And he puts Pediacheer in there. And
Really?
it's actually mostly Pedialyte. Has
Yep.
a little bit of water.
Yep.
And a little bit of the cheer is the Red Bull. So it's not the best tasting concoction, but it keeps you alert and hopefully hydrated. So we're gonna go with some Pediacheer this weekend and see how that works.
So drink recipes as well from Travis Pastrana right here on the Nationwide chat on NASCAR.com. Thanks for that, Travis. Hey, Megan Biggs is going to track us down if we don't ask this question. She's asked it several times. What do you think was your worst injury? What's your worst injury out of all these?
That's a really tough question. I mean, the most painful one was definitely dislocated my entire spinal column and just shattered my hip and pelvis area and bled like 3/4 of my blood volume over a week out into my stomach. So that one sucks, but I don't really remember that one. I kept passing out every time I woke up, so I guess that was bad. Knees have always been horrible. I mean, I've had 9 knee surgeries on my left knee, 9 on my right. So doctors always said if you're going to keep them, just try to be equal on both sides. So symmetry is really what we were going for.
Just bust them an equal number of times, right?
Yeah, the worst one actually is just this bulging disc that I got last time I tried this the trick that I'm going to try here, the 720, and it just makes it really painful to sit down, which has been kind of interesting with the car racing. But luckily the cars in the NASCARs are very the form fitted and actually pretty supportive, so not such a problem there.
See,
a little more painful sitting here.
When you talk about those struggles in that with that trick, you worry NASCAR fans. You're not going to make it to Indy this weekend, but you're going to land it 8 out of 10 times, right?
Got to make it to Indy.
Got to make it to Indy.
8 out of 10. I mean, that's pretty good odds, right?
I like it. 80%.
It's like playing,
I mean, honestly, if it's a basketball player shooting free throws, that's great.
It's not bad. I mean, if you're playing, I don't know, Russian roulette, it's not such great odds. So I think we're more on that than the basketball 80% free throw. So we'll see.
You bring in the Russian roulette and everything changes. I understand that. Jared Vaughn, and this is a question I think a lot of people would be interested in, wants to know, what is your favorite car, period? What's your favorite car?
That's a great question. I've always been kind of a truck guy, just because with motocross and everything, I've always, it's ironic because, I have a Toyota at home, and it's pretty cool to sign on with those guys. But, with rally, I like the all-wheel drive stuff, and had always driven Subaru all the way up into now. So I gotta see what else we can have on the Toyota side to kind of rival that. But it's been fun. I don't know. I would rather have 20 so-so cars and go have a demolition derby with all my friends than have one Lamborghini or anything. So I guess I wouldn't be a good judge on that one.
Actually, that makes sense after chatting with you for a while. Tommy wants to know, and I think a lot of fans also want to know this, have you spoken to Danica Patrick about racing in NASCAR and the pressure that comes with it?
Actually, I haven't had a chance to talk to her in probably 2 years now, really, since she got into NASCAR. I definitely have a lot of respect for her and for Ricky and for all the guys that are coming in from other sports. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of hype, and you're expected to do well right away. I'm definitely at the bottom of that, the roster there of the 2 others I just named, and I realize that I have a lot of work to do. And Danica, I think, I shouldn't say paved the way, but she's done well. She's had I think a 3rd or a 4th out in Vegas, and but it's tough. It's a different sport. It doesn't matter if you come from F1. It doesn't matter if you come from any other form of racing. No matter how good of a car driver you are, you have to learn the specifics of NASCAR. And I think Montoya has probably been the best crossover driver. And you'd still think that he would be more dominant on the road courses, just because F1 is known worldwide to be the the best drivers in the world. And then you see guys like Matthias Ekstrom come in, who personally I thought is like a god in a car. I mean, he can do anything. Race of Champions, he can drive anything so well right off the bat, and he qualifies 40th. for the road course race that he did last year. So these guys are good, and it's going to take a lot of communication with the team, and definitely really excited to see how Danica's progress goes. And she's still got so much else on her plate that it'd be interesting to see when she can, if she does, dedicate all of her time to NASCAR. She can really pick up the pace.
Travis, 2 more questions for you so you can get back and practice this 720 so we can see you this weekend. We want you to have plenty of practice.
Thank you.
Ryan wants to know what will be the most challenging part of the whole weekend between Indy and the X Games.
Sleep. I think sleep will be probably the most challenging part. It's really trying to stay focused. I mean, mentally, you don't really think of racing as high intellect or whatever that goes into it. But the more that you talk to the drivers, I mean, the top drivers in every sport have great memory, great, pretty high IQ, even if they're not, the smartest book smart people. A lot of them are, but some of them are not. And especially with the action sports guys, you're like, oh, that guy, he's not that smart. But these guys they're very focused, and when it comes down to it, they can block everything else out. So for me to get through this weekend and to be able to just really focus 100% on whatever I'm doing at that time is going to be the most difficult part. And we'll be flying all night to Indy and basically all night back to X Games. So it's going to be a long weekend, but it could be the best weekend of my life, could be the worst weekend of my life, and either way, it's going to be a great experience. And I just thank you guys for watching and coming along for the ride.
Yeah, sleep on the plane, buddy. Last question, Bob from Florida, and this is kind of going to recap what we were talking about earlier. Just give us your expectations for Saturday night. What are you looking forward to?
For me, I'm just looking forward to getting in that car, looking forward to racing with these guys, and I really hope we can be competitive. I hope we're out there and we're not a roadblock. I know that our first practice is going to mean a lot because the first practice is the coolest practice. First couple laps are basically how you're seated, to qualify that night. And the last qualifier of the track's going to be a lot cooler than the first qualifier. So if we're bad right off the gate, which I kind of expect us to be in the first couple laps of that first practice, we're going to be qualifying early. It's going to put us on the back of the grid. And for me, I don't want to get lapped. I know that I probably will. I know that we're probably going to have some long green flag runs, but that's my goal going there, is to stay on that lead lap and to to stay out of the way and not be a roadblock. And that sounds very, I don't know if modest is the right word, but it sounds like I'm not trying to go there to do well, but that's not the case. I'm going to drive the absolute crap out of that car, and I'm going to try to do the best that I can. And I sure hope I qualify pole and we win this thing, but realistically, if I get a top 20, I would be really excited for my first race.
Mr. Double Backflip is coming to NASCAR. He debuts this weekend in Indy. Travis, thanks so much for being so generous with your time, and if you're ever in Atlanta, come by. We'd love to have you in the NASCAR.com studios, buddy.
Hey, thank you guys very much, and I'll see you this weekend.
Yeah, Travis Pastrana around this weekend, and thanks to each and every one of you for logging on to NASCAR.com. This has been a nationwide live chat.